Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird won't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Shh, Don't Be Scared. I am so sorry for the giant hiatus. I was moving and working a lot and packing, and it was really crazy there for a little bit. But things are still slowly starting to settle down now, so I'm going to go ahead and get back on to what I love to do best and tell you guys about scary little places. So I actually have been getting so many different requests on what I should be talking about next. Some say I should be doing urban legends, some say that I should be doing legendary creatures, and others tell me that I should be talking about haunted places. And I thought about it for a little bit, and since we are on the start of spooky season, I think it's a great idea to go ahead and talk about haunted cemeteries. When most people think about cemeteries, they think about passing loved ones. Dropping off little knickknacks and flowers when it's an anniversary of a passing, to go visit them. And then there's others who actually go there for different reasons. And some of those others, they like to go there to learn about the history of the cemetery and maybe even about the people who passed. And then you got the curious grave hunters that want to go and explore the other side. Now, most of us know that the east and southern coast of the U.S. has a lot of history. And that history really revolves around the Civil War and sickness outbreaks. But either way, Elmwood Cemetery in Memphis, Tennessee is all about it. Established in 1852, this graveyard was only 40 acres but grew to 80 after the Civil War. With tall aging trees, park-like pathways, and beautiful tombstones, it's now a resting garden for over 75,000 people. Over 1,000 veterans and soldiers from all of the American wars have been buried here, pulling into the darker side of the Civil War, leaving over 300 slaves also buried. In the 1870s, yellow fever had broke out, leaving 5,000 fatalities and 2,500 resting at Elmwood, some unnamed in a section called No Man's Land. Elmwood also includes famous musicians, bandits, and serial killers. Elmwood is still one of the most active cemeteries to this day. People have visited all over to do the tours. Some have seen absolutely nothing, and others have reported seeing a young child walking around and then vanishing. Some have even seen orbs and shadow figures, while others have claims of whistling even though there's no one around. So with all of that said, I'm sure this place is just popping with a whole bunch of spooky stuff. Now, Indiana is known for a lot of haunted cemeteries, but there is one that stands out more than all of the others, and that, my friends, is going to be Stepp Cemetery in Martinsville, Indiana. Stepp Cemetery is going to be in the middle of Morgan Monroe Forest. People love to go there to go hike and walk around and take their dog, and it's actually a really beautiful place to go. I have actually been there before with my friends, and I didn't know that that Stepp Cemetery was actually in there at the time. We just went there for a great hike, and it was beautiful out. But if you guys want to go to a creepy forest, this one would be the one to go to. The small cemetery has been around since the early 1800s, with the first grave lying down in 1851. It belonged to a man named Isaac Hartstone, that was a veteran from the War of 1812. Stepp Cemetery is also a deathbed for a family of 12, leaving mostly children under the age of 10 to 12. Speaking of children, baby Lester, who passed away only a few days after he was born, is also buried here. There are stories of an apparition of a lady in black who sits near the grave, coddling a baby wrapped up in a blanket. Some say that they have even heard the crying from the woman. Then there's others that actually say that they have heard that and whimpering and cooing from a baby. In the 1950s to the 80s, this was a hot spot for teenagers to get together and have parties, getting drunk and telling spooky stories of their own. The stories and legends talk about a group of teenagers or college kids killing a German shepherd and hanging him from a tree. Another story is about a group of teenagers going to the grave to drink and smoke and do stupid things like, most teenagers do. But they decided to turn back after seeing a group of people in cult robes chanting in a circle. To this day, people still talk about Stepp Cemetery and the crazy things that have happened to them, which mostly consist of them feeling cursed with a random bruising and burnings on their back after seeing the lady in black. Claims even have people going back to their cars and having trouble starting them. Paranormal investigators have been to this location and say it's a hotspot for spirits as well. Most say that they don't believe in anything negative really that resides there, but they've gotten lots of EVPs, orbs, and even seeing apparitions. Sounds like a pretty interesting graveyard. It'd be one to definitely check out, especially the next time I go to Indiana. I'll be definitely doing that with my friends. And of course, for the last cemetery that we are going to be talking about today is going to be Silver Cliff Cemetery right here in Colorado. This grave was also established in the early 1800s. The grave is split in half where one side is where the Catholics are buried and the other side is for the Protestants, called the Cross of the Assumption Cemetery. This graveyard is a bed for miners, or actually from an explosion that had happened. But most people know this graveyard as the Graveyard of Lights. The legend says that if you go at night, you can see orbs talking and dancing around the grave. This phenomenon only happens on dark and overcasted nights. Some are big, others are small. Some say it's just a reflection of the city that's miles away. A reflection of old tombstones that have been weathered away. And some of the others say that it's the spirits of the people who reside there. Now, some of these reports say that they have actually seen apparitions. Some even say that they have heard disembodied voices, or it kind of sounds like there are people talking amongst themselves. Overall, thank you guys so much for virtually visiting all these graveyards with me. I learned some pretty cool and spooky things, and I hope you guys did too, and also enjoyed the video. Hopefully I should be becoming more active now that things are finally settling down. Subscribe, like the page, leave a comment, and I hope to be seeing you guys all very, very soon. Thanks. Have a great day.